All right, everyone, get ready for another deep dive. We're going to be looking at tech venture investments today.
Sounds exciting.
It is. It is. And to help us out, we've got...
Oh, is it the middle mark piece?
Yeah, you know it. Investment assessment for technology-dependent ventures. It's, well, a lot to get through.
Definitely dense.
But it's worth it, really.
Yeah, for sure. So much good stuff in there.
Right. Like, it's going to help all of us. And that means you, dear listener,
Absolutely.
to avoid making, well, some bad investment decisions.
Some expensive mistakes, maybe.
Exactly. Like, think of this deep dive as, I don't know, like a crash course
I like that.
in how to be a smarter tech investor.
Yeah.
So one of the things I really loved about this piece, Middlemark uses this.
The iceberg thing.
Yes, the iceberg.
Yeah.
To show how
like, normal ways of looking at investments.
Yeah, like the traditional ways.
They don't really work for tech.
They totally miss the mark. Yeah. It's like everyone's focused on what's
on the surface.
On the surface, yeah.
Like how big the market is, right? The solution.
Oh, and the growth projections.
Yeah.
Those crazy.
The hockey stick graphs.
Hockey stick, yeah. But the thing is,
the stuff that really matters.
the make or break stuff.
It's hidden, like under the water.
Totally. Under the surface.
Yeah.
So, like, think about it. You're looking at this.
Like an IoT company.
Perfect example. IoT business. It's all about
devices everywhere, right?
Devices.
Yeah.
But to really
grow
and be profitable,
make real money,
got to think deeper
about the stuff nobody's talking about. Like, how are they going to automate their customer service?
Oh, that's a good one.
Right? Or even just, like, how are they going to make people aware of the product?
Awareness. Huge. If nobody knows about it.
Doesn't matter how good the device is.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's the stuff that gets overlooked.
And then, it's not just the starting plan either.
Yeah.
What really got me, Middlemark talks about
shifting advantages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like what makes a company
successful today
might not be the same thing tomorrow.
Totally different game a year from now.
His Amazon example.
It's just perfect.
So perfect. They were
a bookstore online.
But what they really understood.
They had to become the kings of logistics.
They cracked the code on that.
It was all about keeping them low.
And delivering. And making sure those customers
were happy, getting what they wanted when they wanted it.
Exactly. And
that's what on top.
Made them Amazon.
Yeah.
It's a great reminder for us, when we're thinking about investments. It's not just
what's happening now.
It's got to be about the future.
How will they adapt? How will they stay ahead?
Okay, but how do we
figure that out?
Yeah, how do we find where the
real value is?
The true value of a business, not just the surface stuff.
Middlemark calls it finding the crux of the value stream. And he uses these...
Oh, the examples.
Examples, yeah. They really show how...
Sometimes it's not...
where you think it is.
Yeah, totally surprising.
But remember those media companies back in the...
Back in the 90s?
90s. They thought...
That content was king.
That their content was everything.
But then advertising those ad spaces.
That was the real gold mine.
They were basically in the ad business.
Wow.
Not the content business.
That's a
big shift.
Yeah, huge.
And there are so many other examples, think about search engines, SNAP.
Oh, yeah, I remember them.
Found more success with their
content management systems
than the actual search stuff.
That's wild.
Right. And game companies, their real value was in
the engine,
not the individual games.
So it's about seeing
really driving things.
Even if it's not the obvious thing.
Even if it's hidden.
It's about
looking deeper
at the system,
their capability,
the stuff that's making the real money.
Exactly.
And then I guess the question is, how do they
hold on to that value, make it last? Yeah, that's the $1 million question, right?
That's where systemization comes in.
Okay, now
break it down.
Break it down for me. What is systemization?
It's like building these
systems
that become so crucial to the customer.
Just how they work, how they do things.
Woven into their goals that they're not.
They don't care as much about
price. They'll pay because it just
works.
Makes their life easier. It's like creating stickiness. They stick around.
They're hooked.
Yeah.
Okay, give me an example. Make it real for me.
Think about Apple.
Yeah.
Or Salesforce.
Okay.
They've built these whole
They're not just products.
Ecosystems. Apple, it's their devices and the music and the apps.
The connections together. It all just works.
And Salesforce. They've got this whole platform for managing customer relationships. And businesses can't live without it.
So it's about building that
Ecosystem, that
Yeah.
stickiness.
So even if there's a cheaper option,
Customers are like,
nah, I'm staying here.
this is where I belong.
That's the goal.
But I mean, aren't there companies that
That should have this figured out.
but they don't?
Yeah. It's surprising. Like, take banks, for example.
Banks. Really? It seems like they'd be,
The masters of systemization.
they should be.
But they're not. They're too focused on
On what?
individual
Yeah.
transactions. They haven't figured out how to be
Part of your whole
financial life.
like Apple or Salesforce.
Yeah. And that makes them
Vulnerable.
so vulnerable to being disrupted.
This is like a light bulb moment for me. For anyone looking at tech investments,
What's a game changer?
it's not just about the product itself. It's about how they build
A whole thing.
that long-term value.
Just systems that just
And grow.
sustainable growth.
Exactly.
But there's another layer to this, right? Like Middlemark says, even...
The small technical decisions, big consequences.
Oh, really? That's kind of scary.
It can be. Imagine a company
Okay, I'm imagining.
that built their whole business on, say,
Oh, on data.
from Twitter's Firehose.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Lots of data there.
They might be doing great,
Right now?
but what happens when
Uh-oh. Twitter shuts it off.
that's it? Game over.
So, as an investor,
You're not just looking at the tech.
but their dependence
Oh, that
and their ability to, like,
change
or
quick.
things go sideways,
You have to ask yourself,
can it last?
can the tech, the foundation, support their long-term plans? Are they building something that can adapt?
Okay, this is a lot to think about.
And we're not even close to done. Middlemark also talks about understanding
Oh, distribution.
distribution channels, and that's another thing investors
Forget about
overlook.
all the time.
Yeah, but it all comes back to
Lose control.
control. If a company relies on others to get their product out there,
They're giving up
control,
for everything.
reach, relationships with customers,
The example he gives about banks using brokers for those.
home loans.
Yeah.
So clear.
They get the volume
But they lose control of the experience
and the data.
that comes with it.
So when you're looking at a company,
Don't be fooled by
Listen,
partnerships.
big announcements.
Look deeper.
See who's really in control.
Do they have the power, or is someone else calling the shots?
And then there's the question of,
Technology.
especially legacy systems,
Oh, those old systems.
can be real problems.
For growth.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Think of them like
Anchors?
weighing them down.
Yeah.
Might have worked before.
But now,
Holding them back.
that loyalty program example.
So good.
It works at first,
Rewarding customers, no problem.
but when they try to get insights from the data,
It just can't handle it.
the system wasn't built for that.
So when you're evaluating,
Got to think long term.
is their tech foundation solid?
Or will it crumble?
Wow. We've covered a lot. But it feels like
Just getting started.
there's so much more to explore.
We've laid a good foundation, though.
Yeah, for understanding how to assess.
These tech ventures.
So, stick around. We're going to
You're diving deeper.
into Anthony Middlemark's brilliant work. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back, folks. Ready for more deep diving?
Always ready. We're talking about procurement expertise and those red flags. What are some things that make you go, this is not good when you're looking at a company?
Well, one of the biggest ones, for me at least, is if they're kind of vague
Yeg
about their tech roadmap, like where are they going with technology? How is it going to help them win? If they can't explain that clearly,
that's a bad sign.
yeah, it makes you wonder if they even know.
If they have a plan,
Exactly. Or if they have the right people to
make it happen.
right, to make those tough decisions about technology, what to buy, what to build, all that.
So it's not enough to just have a cool product. They got to have a vision for how tech is going to get them there.
Absolutely. And another red flag is when they're,
Too dependent.
yeah, like they're putting all their eggs in one basket, relying on just one vendor, one platform.
I guess partnerships are important.
Oh, for sure. But you got to spread the risk.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Like imagine, right, a company that builds everything.
On one cloud platform.
Yeah, and then that
Some
platform,
crashes.
or they jack up the prices,
Ouch.
suddenly that company is in a world of hurt.
So diversification is key.
In tech, yeah, big time. You need options.
Backups.
What if that vendor goes belly up? You got to be ready.
Makes sense. And I guess it's not just about the tech itself. We got to talk about the people.
The talent.
Yeah, attracting the right people.
Like that.
Because a company is only as good as...
It's team.
Exactly. So what should we be looking at as investors when we're trying to figure out if a company can get those A players?
Well, the first thing I always look at is
The culture.
the culture, yeah. Does it feel innovative? Do people seem, I don't know, energized, like they can actually contribute?
And that they're valued.
Yeah, that's huge. Because if the culture is toxic,
Or just stagnant.
no one's going to want to work there.
The best people will go elsewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as an investor, you're not just looking at the tech, but also at the
human side.
the human element, how they treat their people, what their values are, all that.
And the leadership.
Oh, yeah, the leadership. You got to look at their track record.
What kind of track record are we talking about?
Ideally, you want to see a team that's been there, done that, built successful tech companies before.
So they know what they're doing.
They understand the industry, they have the connections.
And they can execute.
Execute, yeah, that's key. Because a great idea without execution is just an idea.
Of how to get done.
And just as important is their ability to
Adapt.
adapt. The tech world changes so fast.
Blink and you miss it.
You need a team that can roll with the punches. Change course when they have to.
This takes us back to that idea of,
Shifting advantages.
yeah, how do we know if they can actually do that, adapt and evolve?
Look at their past.
Like, what have they done before?
Exactly. Have they faced disruptions? Did they come out on top? Have they shown a willingness to try new things, even if it means,
Changing their whole strategy.
well, their product?
So we're looking for signs that they're
Flexible.
flexible, yeah. They have a growth mindset
They're not afraid
to experiment
to make mistakes
and learn from them.
and to make big changes.
When they need to.
This is great advice. Investing isn't just about betting on a product.
It's about betting on the team.
On their ability to navigate this crazy tech world.
That's always changing.
Speaking of navigating, we got to talk about partnerships and,
Distribution.
yeah, we touched on it before, but I think there's more to say.
Definitely. When I'm looking at partnerships, the first question I ask is,
Do they make sense?
yeah, strategically,
Yeah.
do they align with what the company is all about, with their long-term goals?
Yeah,
Or are they just
for sure.
to impress investors? Those flashy headlines.
So substance over style.
Always. Another question is, does the company really understand the partnerships?
Yeah, like the terms of the deal.
What do you mean?
Sometimes those partnerships can be
Well, but-
more restrictive than they seem. Like a company might partner with a big platform for distribution,
Get their product out there.
but then that platform might have all this control,
Control over what?
their data, their pricing, you name it.
So it's about reading the fine print,
You're making sure it's a win-win.
not just getting blinded by the big name.
And then you got to assess their ability to...
Manage those partnerships.
Yeah, because a partnership on paper is one thing. Making it work is another.
What does good partnership management look like in the tech world?
Well, you need clear communication, shared goals, and a willingness to
To work together.
collaborate, yeah. And you need the right systems in place to
Track everything.
track progress, measure results, deal with problems.
So it's about making sure the partnership actually delivers.
Not just hoping for the best.
And realizing that partnerships can change.
Evolve,
What worked before might not work later.
especially as the company grows.
Developed its own capabilities.
Right. They might not need that partner anymore.
Or they might need a different kind of partnership.
This all comes back to adaptability.
Being able to adjust to the changing landscape.
And it brings us back to the core of what we're talking about today. Looking beyond the surface.
When you're evaluating tech investments,
Don't just take things at face value.
dig deeper.
Ask the tough question.
We've talked about so much already. The iceberg, procurement, partnerships.
And we're not done yet.
There's more.
Oh, yeah, lots more. Assessing tech ventures is complicated.
It's not just numbers and pitches.
It's about understanding the tech, the team, the culture, the partnerships,
And their ability to adapt,
to roll with the punches.
to stay ahead of the curve.
It's about seeing what's really going on.
Not just what they're showing you.
Exactly. And speaking of things that are often hidden, let's talk about security.
Oh, yeah, security. Huge topic.
Absolutely critical, but often overlooked.
So what are we looking for? How do we assess a company's security?
Well, the first thing I want to know is how they think about security. Is it just an IT problem for them? Or is
The
it
core part of business.
a core function? Yeah. Because if it's just an IT issue,
It's probably not getting the attention it deserves.
right, it's an afterthought.
Yeah.
But the companies that get it, they treat security as a core business function.
And that means
They have a dedicated team, a strong security policy,
a culture of security.
where everyone's thinking about it, not just the IT guys.
So you're looking for signs that security is baked into their DNA.
Exactly. And then you got to look at their technical infrastructure. Are they using modern security technologies?
Like what? Give me some examples.
Multi-factor authentication, encryption, intrusion detection systems, vulnerability scanning.
That's a mouthful.
It's a lot, yeah. But it's all essential for a strong security posture.
So it's not enough to just have a policy.
You got to have the tech in place to back it up.
And what about incident response? What happens if they do get breached?
They better have a plan.
A good plan.
Yeah, with clear procedures for identifying the breach, containing it, fixing it, and they need a way to communicate.
With who?
With everyone affected. Customers, partners, regulators. Get things back to normal as fast as possible.
So it's about being prepared for the worst case scenario.
Minimizing the damage.
Learning from it.
Improving.
That continuous improvement thing again.
It's key in security. The threats are always evolving.
You attacks all the time.
Companies got to adapt and improve their defenses constantly.
So investors need to understand these security risks.
And factor them into their decisions.
This has been a really interesting look at security assessment.
And we're just getting started.
There's more.
Oh yeah, lots more. But don't worry, we'll cover it all in the next part. Stay tuned.
We're back. Part 3 of our deep dive. This is where it all comes together.
The grand finale, where we tie up all those loose ends.
Exactly. We were just getting into security assessments and incident response plans. But I want to go back to those proactive security measures.
Getting ahead of the threats.
Yeah. Preventing those breaches before they even happen. What should investors be looking for there?
Well, data security's got to be top of mind.
Of course. Customer data, all that sensitive stuff.
It's a goldmine for hackers.
And the damage from those breaches can be huge.
Reputation, fines, lawsuits. So investors need to be asking those tough questions.
Like what? Give me some examples.
How's the company encrypting the data? Where's it stored? Who can access it? Are they following all those privacy regulations?
So it's not just about keeping the hackers out.
It's about being responsible with the data.
Ethical data management practices.
Exactly. And it's not just customer data either. They got to protect their own IP.
Intellectual property, right?
Yeah, the secret sauce. Their source code, patents, trade secrets.
The stuff that gives them an edge.
If that gets out, it's game over.
So investors should be looking for evidence that they're taking IP protection seriously.
Absolutely. They need to have a plan to keep those secrets safe.
This makes me think about how important a holistic approach to security is.
It's all connected.
You can't just focus on one area and ignore the others.
It's got to be integrated into the entire business.
And it's an ongoing thing, right? Not a one-time fix.
Constant monitoring, evaluation, improvement. The threat landscape never stands still.
So they got to stay ahead of the game.
That brings us to another big theme we've been talking about. Adaptability.
Being able to change and evolve.
Crucial for tech ventures.
Why is that? I mean, we've touched on it, but spell it out for me.
Because the tech world is a whirlwind. New technologies pop up every day. Consumers are fickle.
And the competition is fierce.
If you can't adapt, you're toast.
Middlemark talks about shifting advantages, right?
Yeah, like a company might be on top today, but tomorrow.
Someone else comes along with a better idea.
Or the market shifts.
Like what happened when smartphones took over.
Everything changed. Companies that couldn't adapt went extinct.
So how do we know if a company can actually adapt? What should investors look for?
Look at their history. Have they pivoted before? Changed their strategy, their product?
Overcame challenges.
Yeah, have they shown that they're not afraid to
Change course.
To experiment, to make tough decisions?
So we're looking for that flexibility, that growth mindset.
They're not married to one idea, they're willing to evolve.
And the company culture plays a role too, right?
Huge role. Does it encourage creativity?
Yeah.
Innovation? Risk-taking?
You need a culture that embraces change.
Where people aren't afraid to challenge the status quo.
That's where the magic happens.
It's about finding those companies that thrive on change, that see it as an opportunity.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like we've learned so much about
assessing tech ventures,
the iceberg, procurement, security, adaptability.
It's a lot to digest, for sure.
But our listeners, they're smart folks.
They're ready for this.
They're deep divers.
Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
Don't just invest in the product. Invest in the team's ability to adapt and navigate this crazy tech world. That's what separates the winners from the losers.
Great advice. Thanks for joining me on this journey.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners, thanks for diving deep with us. Keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.